Hi everyone, this is Dee, and I decided to do something a little bit different today. No, 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 no. I am not talking about Tasha K. I have some stuff I'm working on, but she will not be my topic today. I'm also not talking about 7 stars. I'm not talking about the alleged rape in the Atlanta nightclub. I'm not talking about any of that. Not today. Or not on this video. um, Today I'm taking a look at an organization I believe to be extremely corrupt. First, they had a problem with black athletes taking a knee in protest of all the black people who were getting killed by the police. Um, and these are people who were getting killed for no reason. People who weren't breaking the law, people who were not committing crimes, but all of a sudden, bam, they're dead. Um, now they've actually gone farther, because not only did they have an issue with black athletes taking a knee in protest of unfairness and corrupt cops, basically. Now they've gone so far as to cheat a hardworking team out of a chance to play in the Super Bowl. Now, of course, if you're not much of a sports fan, I get it. I understand everybody doesn't like sports. I don't really care so much for the NFL because I feel like it's a corrupt organization and it's nothing like what it used to be. It used to be an actual sport where teams worked hard throughout the year. They came together. They went head to head. And when you came out of that game, you felt like you climbed a mountain and climbed back down and climbed back up again because it was so exciting. Now everything is so commercial. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, I am talking about the NFL. I'm talking about the NFL, and I'm talking about their attempt to seriously sabotage a game that worked incredibly hard this year to make it to the NFC Championship, and then they stripped them down in the last few, like it wasn't even 2 minutes left in the game. The game was dang near over. The game was almost over, and they stripped the win clean out of their hands. And the sad part about it is that even retired football players like Shannon Sharpe, who's normally Shannon Sharpe from Undisputed, he's normally the crusader for justice. But when it came to the Saints, Shannon wimped out. Not only did he wimp out, he commented on the game as if the NFL had their hands shoved so far up his you-know-what, turning him into a trained jackass. It was a mess. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, I don't even watch football that much, but even I can see that the play was not called, that the penalty wasn't called. It's a shame. It is a shame when people work hard to accomplish something and they don't even get a chance to reach their full, potential because someone cheats them out of what they work so hard for. Well, I have one thing to say before I go forward. Thanks a lot, Shannon. Thanks a lot for standing up for truth and justice. I know you did point out some really good points. I watched all of the gameplays, and yes, there were a few things that could have been done differently. But yeah, thanks a lot for being a jackass on this one. Thank you. We appreciate you. Not. So, I went through the game. I went through the game because that's what I do. Whenever I have a question about something, I don't just get mad. I don't just go off of what everybody else says. I look at it myself and I examine it myself with a critical eye and with unbiased intention, because I don't have a favorite football game, favorite football team. I used to be a diehard Cowboys fan, but I do not like getting let down all the time. I'm sorry, that's just how I am. And anyone who gets mad, love you. I love you a lot. But I just, if I was in a relationship with someone and they just kept letting me down, I'd have to let them go. So that's how I feel about the Cowboys. I had to let them go because they just kept letting me down. I couldn't keep doing it. You can't keep getting me up here high on this love for the Cowboys and then drop me on my face. So yeah, I had to let them go because they were breaking my heart entirely too much. After all the controversy surrounding the Saints versus the Rams football game, as I stated, I decided to take an unbiased look at what happened to the Saints in the most controversial clash of the Titans that's existed in a long time. I mean, just think about it. This was a really good game. I didn't watch the game as it was being played, but I watched it after the fact. And I didn't just watch it, as I stated, I watched it with a critical eye. So I watched every play. I watched every missed pass. I watched, I watched it all. I wasn't just looking for the smoking gun at the end. I went through the whole game. And so when the New Orleans Saints and the Los Angeles Rams met on the gridiron this past Sunday, January 20th, 2019, their game was one for the books. There were constant ups and there were constant downs. The fans on both sides were on the edge of their seats because at the beginning of the game, of course, the Saints were killing it. They were out there doing it. They were doing it. They were executing plays. I will say that Arnold dropped a pass in the end zone at 10 minutes and 7 seconds. That was the Saints. So we started out, dropping, hey, you dropped a pass. But then Lutz came around, made a complete kick, and there we go with our first 3 points, 10 minutes, 4 seconds in the game. So, the game was kind of up and down. And at first, the Saints had it. They were running things. They were wrecking shop. But the one thing that I have to point out is this. The few little passes that were dropped. There was another pass that was nearly picked up later on in the game, but it didn't get picked up. With a few minor errors here and there, yeah, they could have had more points on the board. That's true. The Saints could have had more points. But when you look at the game and you look at the game in its entirety, it was kind of like a neck and neck thing. Because 1 minute you got one team with 10 points, the other one with 17 points. Then the next thing you know, it was 20 and I want to say 20 and 13. Then it was 20 and 20. So it was neck and neck. They were fighting hard. These guys were not out there being sloppy. They weren't out there not running the ball. They weren't out there getting in front of the ball. They were actually doing their job. So when it came to that one play that was so crucial to this game, when it came to that one play, what I did, as I stated, I watched the whole game, but I did fast forward to the crucial play. And I actually went through the list. It's like 29 plays. 29 plays throughout that game. 29 essential, necessary plays that made the game what it was. But when we got to number 29, and there were a few more plays after 29, when we got to number 29, and Lewis went out to catch the ball, and Robbie Coleman, jumped in front of him. He literally jumped in front of the ball. So my question is, for someone who doesn't watch sports as much as I used to, I am a very energetic person. I am that crazy woman in the up in the bleachers screaming her head off, wanting people to die. When I go for a team, I go for a team. I'm on it. But when I saw this play, I was like, what in the world is this? How can you not call a pass interference when the receiver didn't even get a chance to put his fingers on the ball? What kind of mess is that? Why is it that there were 3 referees at different angles looking at this interference? It was no flag was thrown. No flag was thrown. There was a referee out there on the field with the players facing in the same direction as Lewis and Robbie Coleman. There were two referees on the side, one facing them and one facing directly out to the team, and another one facing them from an angle over to the side. Now, you can't see that, at certain angles, but when they look at it from all different angles, you can see that there were two more referees literally right there in almost kicking distance of these two players. How in the world is it that they missed? How in the world is it they missed calling that violation? How is that even possible? I'm going to tell you how I think it's possible. The reason I think it's possible is because I believe that the NFL is rigged. Not only do I believe that the NFL is rigged, I believe that they had no intention whatsoever of allowing the Saints to win. Even though there was a blatant penalty, right in your face penalty, even though those referees were standing right there looking at the penalty, those three referees made the decision not to call a pass interference. They made the decision not to call anything. They didn't throw a flag. They did absolutely nothing. So basically, they got paid for that game to do nothing. They got paid to do nothing. Because of the referee's failure to call the penalty on the play, a petition is currently being signed against the NFL. And the owner of the New Orleans Saints is looking into legal action. And Gail Benson, I hope you are 100% successful, because I feel like the Saints were robbed. Now, I'm not a Saints fan. I don't get out there cheering for the Saints. They're not my team. I'm not going to cry or die if they win or lose. But I think what happened was a farce. I think it was a travesty. It's a daggone shame that those guys worked as hard as they did through their football season to get to that point. They could see the Super Bowl. They could see the Super Bowl. They could see the Super Bowl. And the NFL stole their dream right from before their eyes. The rich, old people sitting around, eating up all their money, not thinking about the players that are out there killing themselves. Basically, you're just like, it's not my problem. We got paid already. What kind of crap is that? What happened to the integrity that used to exist in the NFL? Why is it that the NFL is now run by a bunch of losers who probably have never played a game of football in their life and don't even deserve to own a football team? What kind of losers are you? How can you sit there on your self-righteous, entitled behinds and strip away somebody's right, something they worked that hard for? What kind of monsters are you? And then to make matters worse, I'm reading all of the different information that went out. On Sunday, January the 20th, 2019 at 5:25 p.m., I'm looking at the website Game Recap. Los Angeles Rams 26, New Orleans Saints 23, overtime. Coach Sean Payton said after the game, the league office called and admitted its officials had missed two penalties on the play: defensive interference and helmet-to-helmet hit. I don't know, and this is what Sean Payton said. I don't know if there was ever a more obvious pass interference call, Payton said. So you mean to tell me they know that the officials did nothing? They didn't do their jobs. We are in an age of cell phones and technology. Somebody could have let them know, hey guys, y'all didn't call that interference. Somebody could have done something. Something could have been done. Those guys, the Saints worked entirely too hard to get to where they were for their opportunity to be stolen by lazy, good-for-nothing people. And honestly, I believe that those referees were paid. Now, I'm not saying I know for a fact that they were paid off, but if I was a gambling person, I would be willing to bet that they were. And the reason I say that I would be willing to bet that they were paid off is because that interference was so obvious. Even I, someone who doesn't watch football that much anymore, because I don't care for the BS that goes along with it. I don't care for the lies and the deception, and I don't care for the way that the owners behave. So why would I support you? Why would I give you my money? Why would I do anything to support you being disgusting people? That's the reason why a lot of people walk away from it, because they get tired of being cheated. Even I, someone who hasn't really just bought into the NFL like I used to, when I was first shown the clip, the first thing that came out of my mouth is, that's an interference. How in the heck is it they didn't see that? Oh, well, there's different angles on the field, and sometimes, nah, bull belly, bull belly, bull belly, bull belly. That doesn't even make sense. You got three people, three men at three different angles. If they can't see that interference, then they don't need to be out on the field. They have eye problems. They can't see. So you need to terminate those three turkeys, because you're wasting hard-earned people's money. People's hard-earned money. You're wasting their money paying three men that don't know what they're doing and can't see. So that means every game that those three have officiated at need to be looked at, because if they couldn't see that blatant, obvious play, interference, how could they see anything else when it's right there in their face? When it was so close to them, it literally, those two players could have literally slapped two of those referees in the face. That's how close they were to them. And so we're the general populace is supposed to just say, oh, well, it happened. Nothing's going to be done about it. We'll just accept it. The NFL needs to get its act together. You changed the rules. You've made it so that people who used to be considered gladiators are now relegated to little bitty mamby-pamby boys. Oh, don't touch me. You can barely touch it. Football players can barely touch each other anymore. What kind of game is that? What kind of sport is that? Don't touch me. That's football now. Now, at first, you changed the rules so that you can barely, it's not really even a contact sport anymore, just barely. And now you're going one step further, because you're trying to test the waters to see if it's okay to cheat someone out of the NFL, out of the Super Bowl. Wow, it looks like a Trump moment to me. This looks like a Trump moment to me. Yeah, trying to get over on people. You guys ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Well, I know they're passing around a petition. Currently, it says and the online petition calls for the Saints-Rams rematch, and it says there's an online petition. The name of that online petition, I'll have the link to the website below. It's called online petition calls for Saints-Rams rematch, but can it really happen? My answer is I don't think it will. These people will never admit their fault. They'll never admit the fact that they made a mistake. They'll never admit the fact that the people who spent their hard-earned money to go see that game, those season ticket holders, they'll never admit that they cheated them out of their support for their team. They'll never admit it. They'll wait till next year, implement some BS rule that won't really be taken seriously, but the team that deserved to go to the Super Bowl will have to work hard next year like they did this year, or like they did in 2018. They'll just have to work hard in 2019 in the hopes that they don't get cheated again. Wow. Thanks a lot, NFL. You guys are really great. Okay, the petition says, due to refs' inability to properly officiate at the game, we, the undersigned, want a rematch against LA on Sunday, January 27th. The petition reads, it's the only fair solution to the travesty of epic proportions. As of 5 p.m. Monday, January the 21st, more than 395,000 people have signed the petition. 395,000 people. That's how many people you've pissed off so far. 395,000 people. If each one of those people paid $100 to see that game, 395,000 people. You have cheated those people out of $39,500,000. NFL, you are despicable. Shannon Sharpe, I hope you get your stuff together and not be the NFL's jack boy, because really and truthfully, I can understand where you were coming from about the fact that there were some things that the Saints could have done in that game. But you said that the last play that affected them was not the game changer. That's what you said. And that was a lie, sir. I call you a liar. You lied. You may be trying to kiss up to the NFL, but nobody's going to accept that. You lied, sir. You lied. I honestly don't believe that they'll reschedule the game, because I believe that the NFL is a corrupt organization. I believe that the game was rigged. I believe that they actually probably paid those referees to look for an opportunity where they could intentionally cause the Saints to miss out on the Super Bowl. And the reason I say that is because what happened was so blatantly wrong. That's the reason why I believe that they actually probably set that up. No one wanted to see the North versus the South. And that's the reason I believe the Saints were cheated. They didn't want to do the whole North versus the South. There's already too much mess going on because the president is such a big douchebag. So everybody wanted to, they were trying to, and this is my opinion, I believe that the NFL was trying to create a perfect game. Los Angeles Rams and the Patriots. That's what I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, if you look at the footage, if you look at the video speaks for itself. Come on. It was very obvious that there was a penalty that should have been called. Nothing was called. So it looks like the whole game was probably rigged. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people don't care because it wasn't their team out there getting handled by the NFL. But what if it was your team? How would you feel? If they can get away with it this time with this one team, they will be rigging more games and trying to get away with it for other teams. Mark my words. As hard as these guys work to get to the NFCC championship and then get cheated out of their chance to go to the Super Bowl, this is absolutely ridiculous. And the National Football League, or NFL, should be ashamed of itself for robbing these men of their potential victory. And for robbing the fans of potentially, let's see, what was that figure again? Potentially $39,500,000. That is ridiculous. And the NFL should be ashamed of itself. That's all I have to say for today. Keep in mind, I will be coming on from time to time with different conspiracy theories. Of course, I'm always watching. I'm always looking around to see what's going on in this world, because things are never what they seem. I always keep my eyes on what's going on in the YouTube universe and outside of the YouTube universe. Thanks so much for watching Black Conspiracy TV, BADTV. And remember, Black people, keep your eyes open and your ears sharp. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.